Thanks for joining us today, everybody. We are continuing a topic in regards to the master skill. We're going to dig even deeper into delayed gratification. We're going to get into the practical application. I know we've talked about it at a high level in the past, but now we want to talk about, we're going to revisit the definition and application of delayed gratification in your life as it applies to some of the big 10 tent items within your life, which Dr. Hall will describe in greater detail. And then we're going to try to talk about the things that could derail you, that could take those efforts and maybe either slow them down or take them completely off the rails. So I think we're going to cover a really great conversation and cover a lot of ground and hopefully add a ton of value to the direction that you're sending your business in. So I'll briefly introduce Dr. Hall, who's our co-host today, is going to dig deeper into this topic. He's a business psychologist, executive coach, public speaker, and multi-time author. And then my favorite aspect is the neuro nerd, where we actually get into the day-to-day. How do we make this stuff work in our lives? So I affectionately call it the neuro nerd side. But other than
And I
that
embrace that.
introduction, yeah, how are you doing today, Dr. Hall?
I'm doing quite well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited to take this topic into greater detail so that folks can really get a handle around implementation. I think it's going to be super
Let's
valuable.
go.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, well, let me do just a couple of small housekeeping items and we can get into the meat here. For those of you that I haven't met, my name is Jerod Lee. I'm the associate broker and team lead here at My Home Connection, also known as MHC Realty. Our sponsor for today is the Perfect Real Estate Business. We've been developing this for more than 2 decades now, and now in large part with in collaboration with Dr. Hall. We have all the things that you would want in a real estate business, and then the things that are quite often left behind in the way of your mindset, how it is that you approach your business from a mental state, and then of course there's a lot of other things that we can talk to you about implementing into your business. So we'd love to have that conversation. Feel free to reach out anytime. But with that, we'll bring Dr. Hall in, and if you could just revisit with us briefly, kind of the definition of delayed gratification and why it's so important in our lives.
Yeah, I hope I put this simply, which is putting off something that you want now in anticipation of a larger gain later is pretty much what delay of gratification is now. I am not going to spend this money on this thing now so I can invest the money and I'll never get to see it for a long time. And if I invest the money, then I'll get more money later so I could buy more things later. So it's saying no to yourself now for a bigger yes later.
So is that the reason for delaying it? Is that you're anticipating a bigger positive outcome at a future date than what you would otherwise receive today?
Always, always. I mean, there's no reason to put off something now if you expect a worse outcome in the future.
Now, this is applicable to a myriad of areas of our lives, right? It's not just,
Yeah, it's
it's
every
everything.
area of our life. And what we found is that the earlier you develop the delay of gratification, um, the better off you are. Now, the delay of gratification can become malignant, and I'll give an example. Um, People, they save a bottle of wine
Okay.
for decades
Mm,
because they believe the bottle of wine will become more valuable, and one day at a big celebration they'll drink it,
gotcha.
and then 20 years later they open up this bottle of wine, they drink it, and they find out it's turned to vinegar.
Oops.
Okay, so that's malignant delay of gratification.
Okay.
So you can hold on to something in the anticipation that it will become more valuable, only to find out later it's become less valuable. So it is a wonderful principle so long as it doesn't become malignant. But generally speaking, saying no to yourself now for a bigger, larger reward later is the master skill.
Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself, and I hate to spoil the story, but you've described at length kind of a study that was done in an interesting way. So if you want to retell it because it's applicable and appropriate, let me know. But really, it's the marshmallow story of the kids that were asked to not indulge in a marshmallow right now, but get more marshmallows later. And you fast forward to their adult lives, and we found out that they were just more productive, more successful kind of people. Is
Yeah,
that a good summary of that
it's
study? That
it's a great summary. Walter Michel tracked these kids from preschool up through college, and he found that the kids who waited for the second marshmallow, and they waited 15 minutes for the second marshmallow, had higher SAT scores by 210 points, higher grade point averages, less likely to be in trouble with the law, rated as more responsible by their teachers, rated as more popular by their peers, more likely to go to college. I mean, the list goes on. And so what it teaches us is that that pattern of the delay of gratification founded in childhood, even prior to going to school, when you're in preschool,
Mhm.
that is a predictor of life success.
Okay, so there's some people that could get discouraged here, right? Because it's like when I grew up, this is the response to my life. This is how I'm going to respond to certain activities. Some of us obviously want, especially in today's culture, instant gratification. Pausing for days, weeks, or years is next to impossible. We're likely to hesitate for minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think, and I'm trying to summarize what you've said in the past is, hopefully you've had that approach to life in a delayed gratification way so that it's benefited you through your childhood, your adolescence, and your adult years. But now if you got to go back into it, it's not impossible. It's just going to require more work because you're going to have to undo kind of the typical behaviors that you've already had. But I
Yeah.
guess the short question here is, what's the sense of optimism that people can really embrace this very powerful approach to life and get the benefits that you just described kind of later in life?
Oh, it's absolutely possible. Because our brains are malleable to one degree or another all throughout our lifespan. If you can learn new information, your brain can change. And and we know there are dramatic examples of people who have changed their brain in dramatic ways um, in adulthood. And so you have a bad habit. Yeah, it's hard to change bad habits. Is it impossible? No. Can you, through repeated practice, through repeated rehearsal, change that pattern of instant gratification to delayed gratification? Absolutely.
So I want to interject something here, which is a topic all on its own that you talk a lot about, but I think it's super important to at least create an awareness, right? And that's, and hopefully I don't butcher it too bad, but this idea of metacognition, right? Thinking about our thinking and analyzing when I go to do something, hey, that behavior, that need for instant gratification, that inability to delay something for a future bigger benefit, I have to be aware that that's my normal inclination. Put that on pause, revisit the whole thing, kind of your stop process, right? Stop, think, observe, plan, and then
Plan.
go. And I'm
Yeah.
covering a lot of territory here.
We're really
But
galloping today, aren't we?
yeah, I mean, but we're trying to get into the details of how we implement delayed gratification. And I think in my opinion, to not briefly talk about what you primarily teach, and that's what's up here. I don't know how you do that without just, I mean, you get better at metacognition and getting better in how you think and how you respond and all that. So I don't want people to get discouraged because like, wow, that's a lot of work. I got to do that, hours on end before I can even, but you can do it
No,
very quickly.
well, you start with one area.
Hmm.
The problem people have when they're trying to change their habits is they try to change too many habits at once. So you say, okay, I'm gonna learn how to delay gratification in X area. Now,
Hmm.
what I know is that everybody knows how to delay gratification in at least one area of their life.
Mm.
So I mean, we all have certain areas that we can delay gratification and we can't in others. More successful people have more areas of their life where they delay gratification. So I encourage people to find that spot, that one thing that they do where they delay gratification, and then transfer that learning to another area. So if you're great at saving money, but it's really hard for you to say no to cheesecake, you say, okay, well, what do I tell myself when I want to spend money? I tell myself, wait 24 hours. I mean, that's a very common
Yeah,
practice for delay of gratification. It's like, oh, you see
I
something
love
you
it.
want to buy. If it's there tomorrow, I'll buy it.
I
And
love
so,
that because then you can compare how in my head I was able to convince myself, talk myself out of just instant gratification and apply it elsewhere. It's
right.
that,
So then you apply it to cheesecake and you go, boy, I really want that cheesecake. Hey, if I still want that cheesecake in 2 hours, I'll have the cheesecake, but I'll wait 2 hours.
love it.
And you might be surprised in 2 hours you don't want the cheesecake anymore.
Yeah, yeah, that urge, that thought that was going rogue.
I don't know who that person would be, but
I don't either. Cheesecake's a good one. Carrot cake,
I mean,
real
it's a great
close.
temptation. But we use that as an example. Take an area of strength, apply that area of strength to an area of weakness, and do one thing at a time. If you try to do it in every area, you'll fail. Just one thing at a time.
I love it. So actually, we're going to get into the areas, but for whatever reason, I feel like it's really important to yet again go into why you've classified. My chair's rolling around a little bit. Sorry. um,
Squirrel.
a little distracting. Yeah. See your brain. Um, why is it? And I know you said it, but I'm hoping to kind of reframe it because I really want the audience, the listeners, to understand why this is the master skill. I mean, you said it, but it can be easily glossed over, and it makes sense. And we'll get into specifics here, but at a 30,000-foot view, is it just simply the ability to control your mind for bigger things and not let it get away from you? Is it that simple, or am I
No,
oversimplifying?
what you're describing is the simple is not easy. It may be simple to describe, but it's not easy to do.
Okay.
And
But why is
and
it
so,
important to do? Yeah.
but it is important to do, and it does go back to your concept on metacognition, which is let's say I'm at Walmart and I see something I want to buy, and I have to be aware first. I have to be self-aware, which is metacognition. I have to be aware. Oh, I really want this. Then I have to be able to say, oh, I know I can control this. So self-awareness, then self-control. Okay, I'm going to use my 24-hour rule.
Mm,
Okay, and so you're regulating yourself, and self-regulation, self-discipline, delay of gratification, all of those things, they're all largely synonyms for the same process
mm.
of telling yourself no.
Yeah. So if something comes up and it's an instant thing, or it could be an instant thing, I probably haven't put a lot of thought into it because time, right? There's just not a lot of compute cycles. I love your idea of sleep, right? It took me, I had many years to say I make no big decisions the same day. So if I'm on a phone call, somebody's selling you something, you're in a store, you're like, I can't do this today. I have to think about it. So now I'm analyzing what's it going to cost me financially? What's it going to cost me distraction wise? Is it going to hit on other priorities? So
Yep.
is that what's happening? Is you're controlling your pace and you're giving yourself other options and other thoughts to factor in to make a good decision and time? Are all those?
I think all of those are parts of what you're doing. Yes, you're putting the brakes on. I mean, a car with all gas and no brakes is
Going
a
to get a wreck.
disaster.
Yeah.
And so you need both. You need both gas and brakes. And so the what self discipline or the delay of gratification is that's the brakes. And you definitely want acceleration, but you also want to be able to stop yourself. So I think you're describing all those things that make for a successful person. If you've got an a yes button for everything and never a no button, um, whatever course of life you're in, you're going to start having trouble. I think there was a movie with Jim Carrey called The Yes Man. He said yes to everything, and
I
he
loved it.
eventually got. I mean, it was a funny movie, but he got completely overwhelmed. At some
Yeah.
point, you have to say no.
I love the analogy you used earlier, and I love that movie as it relates to what we're talking about here. And I think it's going to be interesting for some of our listeners, right? Because it's a continuum thing, right? You've probably got some people out there that, kind of the way the nurture nature thing worked for them. They just kind of seem to naturally go through life with a high degree of delayed gratification. And then there's other listeners who are going to like, yeah, I can't even spell that, and I'm not trying to be rude. It's just something I say when you can't even really start that thing because it's just so overwhelming that like I'm not that person, and you got to
Well,
figure out where
you're
you're at on the continuum.
yeah. I mean, it's like any skill. Some people are naturally gifted, and other people have to work their way into it. And people who aren't naturally gifted in a thing, they'll have to do a lot more work, but they can achieve the same success as a person who's naturally gifted if the person who's naturally gifted doesn't exercise that gift.
Mm, love that. Yeah, you're
So,
good at it. You just don't practice it.
yeah, I mean, if I'm naturally we'll use music. The greatest musicians, they have a natural gift that I don't have. And so someone who can sit down at a piano and just, you know, figure out a tune, that's like magic to me.
Yeah,
Okay? So
same.
they have a gift that I don't have. But if I apply myself and take piano lessons and do that for decades and they never practice their gift, I could be as good as them. But I'll never be as good as someone who's naturally gifted and
Mm,
practices. So
yeah,
that's the issue here with the delay of gratification. Some people, they're just born. It's easy for them to tell themselves no. It's easy for them to put things off. And if they practice it, they get better at it.
yeah,
And so they'll be even more successful.
yeah,
But if you're not naturally gifted in that way, well, get busy. This is gonna be something you're gonna have to work on. And
yeah.
and we all have gifts and we all have weaknesses. That's just the nature of human beings. And so if you find that, boy, this isn't an area that I'm particularly gifted in, okay, then you're gonna have to practice more.
Yeah, and I would say everybody needs to practice this, right? Like,
Yes.
maybe I should practice music if I want to do music, but I, it's not the end of the world if I'm not musically inclined.
Wait,
But this skill seems like everybody
but
should have it.
what you and I think it would be a better world if everybody had it, but it's not a priority for a lot of people. Okay, they can live their life. They're not watching this.
Right, right. Yeah, for those that are, there's two things that are happen. I think will happen. One is that as you get better at delayed gratification, your business life, your personal life, your financial life, and we're going to get into those specifics here, are going to get better. And for those that just want to ignore it, just now you're got an awareness that your life's going to get worse because it's a skill you don't have and you're not practicing it.
Right. And for some people, they look at the kind of conversation we're having, and it's so foreign to them, and it's not important to them. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Go live your life.
Yeah. I would imagine that most of our listeners, I mean, this is what we talk about, right? Personal development, business development. This is
Yes.
improvement. We're talking to entrepreneurs. And the one thing you got to get right as an entrepreneur is your mind because nobody's going to keep you in check generally other than yourself. And
Yes.
this is the skill. The
It, it,
reason you call it the master skill. There's other skills, but if you don't have this
that
one,
this if you don't have this one, you can't leverage all of the others.
yeah.
And again, people who are watching or listening to this conversation are a subset of our entire society. They get it, they want it. And so the people who get it and want it but aren't very good at it, okay, just resign yourself. It's like, okay, I'm going to have to practice that one more. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's get into the nitty gritty here. And that is, so as you've talked about, and I love the way you presented that because it fits well here, is everybody should give themselves credit for some ability in some area of their life to delay gratification. Maybe your
Yeah.
financial life is in ruin, but you're really physically fit,
Yeah.
or vice versa. I don't know, insert what
Yeah.
you're good at here and figure out why you're good at it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're patient with children who are having temper tantrums, that's a gift.
That I don't
You
have.
know,
I'm teasing.
well, and you don't have it. Okay. But you can learn from the other areas of your life and get better at it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Well,
but everybody
go-
has something.
yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. So factor that into how you introduce those skills into the other area. So let's just kind of take them in sequence and we can kind of rapid fire them. And I didn't put your top 10. And actually, you know what? Let's go back just a little bit. So you have something what's called the Big 10, and these are the different
Yep.
areas of your life that you suggest we focus on. I'll give you a chance to kind of detail that out a little bit.
Yeah. In my book, Staying Happy, Being Productive, I go through just a way that I divide up the categories of life. And some people have 4, some people have 6, some people have 7. And I came up with 10 and thought I should probably stop.
Otherwise, it gets
and
overwhelming.
I watched successful people, and I watched the areas where they emphasized in their life. And I chose very carefully 10 categories that you can have control over. So for example, you'll see in my list, I have exercise life and nutrition life. And people tell me, well, why don't you just call that health life? And I said, well, sometimes you don't have control over your health. You could get hit by a bus,
Right.
and through no fault of your own, and your health is impaired, but you still have control over what you do after the injury
Nutrition.
and what you put in your body. So your physical activity and your nutrition you have control over, but you don't have full control over your health. You can influence it, but you don't have complete control over it because you get hit by a meteor, whatever it is.
Right.
So I chose 10 categories where you can have control over it. So it's exercise life, nutritional life, work life, money life, love life, which is your primary love relationships, family members, social life, these are your friends, sleep and rest life, recreational life, thought life, and spiritual life. And those are the 10.
Love it. Now, I took a subset of that as I was going through your list because
Yep.
I have it here with your expedition book. It's outlined. And I
Yep.
kind of tried to get the ones that I felt were most pertinent to delayed gratification. And I've got to imagine you would say that delayed gratification can apply to all of them, but
All of them. But
that's
let's choose these. Yeah.
yeah, and I kind of after I wrote the list, I kind of want to go a little bit backwards because
Sure.
of sleep and rest. You'll say that's a keystone habit, and
It is.
kind of like delayed gratification. You can have a lot of skills to make you successful, but if you don't have delayed gratification, it significantly negatively impacts that.
Yeah.
And you communicating that sleep and rest is the keystone habit for those big 10 in your life, correct?
Well, I would say that people ask me what's the one I should start with, and I would say it is sleep and rest life, because your brain needs recovery time, and your brain is the instrument, it's the organ through which you can achieve all of these other things. And if you're not giving your brain time to recover, and you're not having time of quiet reflection, which is the rest life, then you can't do the rest very well.
Makes sense. So how would you say delayed gratification? My brain goes to I'd rather watch that. I'd rather binge on that Netflix TV series, or I'd rather do anything but go to bed. Versus delayed gratification is not doing those things, going to bed at a reasonable hour, preferably having not had dinner too close, all the things that they recommend for good sleep. There's any
Yeah.
manner of things that you could choose to ignore to get little to crap sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you've called it, which is what are the distractions that you can continue to fill your head with, be it binge watching a show. It's like, okay, just one more episode. They're only 30 minutes long. Well, without commercials, they're only 20 minutes long. You think, well, then maybe I could do two. I mean, so you lie to yourself and you get yourself further and further in the hole, and you think, well, then I'll just sleep and I'll just power sleep, and then you lie to yourself and you say, well, tomorrow won't be that big of a day anyway, or I can sleep in a little bit, or I can recover over the weekend. It'll all even out. We engage in this kind of self-deception that keeps us from the delay of gratification. And if you say, okay, I'm done binge watching whatever show I'm watching, I'm going to go to bed. It's the hunger for more stimulation that keeps us going. So it's telling yourself, no, I'm going to say no to this stimulation, even though the entertainment is fun and it's part of recreational life. And I'm not anti-fun. I'm very pro-fun, but at the same time, in moderate doses.
Yeah,
I'm very pro-pizza, but I'm not pro 10 pizzas in one sitting. There's a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like, because recreational life, as you mentioned earlier, is one of those big 10, but you can't let it get in the way of the other big 10, specifically the keystone habit of sleep, because going to bed at 10 or at midnight, waking up at 8 isn't the same as going to bed at 10, getting up at 6, right? There's the whole
your diurnal cycle, and it really depends on you. I mean, there are some people who are night owls, and midnight to 8 is great. It's great for them. There was a period in my life when 2 to 10 was great for me. Now I couldn't do that. My body has changed, my mind has changed, my habits have changed, and so I just go to bed a lot earlier.
Yeah, yeah. So those, and the one thing I want to bring up here, and you touched on, is how do I get better at delayed gratification? And you touched on a couple other things, such as lying to yourself. Oh, there's only, it's only a half an hour, or, oh, I'll get to sleep tomorrow. Like those are, lying to yourself, deception, ignoring something, avoidance. I mean, there's all manner of things that we can do in our head. And that's why it starts with metacognition, because you're like, why did I do that? How can I not do that in the future so that I can be the best I can at delayed gratification in more of the areas in my life to get better?
Well, one of the ways is to memorialize how you feel when you have gotten the rest. Because right now, watching that funny show is immediately pleasurable. But but when you feel good tomorrow because you got good sleep, unless you memorialize it, unless you recall it and actively rehearse it in your head, it'll fly out the window, because the way our memory is set up is mildly positive things we don't really pay attention to for that long. Yeah. And so you've got to memorialize, oh, I feel, I do really feel good having done this, and I got a lot accomplished and I feel good about that. Writing it down, journaling about it, any of those things can help you to delay gratification, because you start marking up your successes. So memorializing those successes is a good way to do it. And if you can keep score, that's an easy way to learn, am I doing a good job?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Both of those things applied to me this weekend. I both kept score, and I kind of journal it, not formally, but informally. And that is, on the weekends, I find it very easy to say, hey, it's the weekend, I'm going to stay up later. Like I don't have to be to work tomorrow, or, as quickly or whatever. But I also have been learning the importance of circadian rhythm and consistency and all that. And, now the era of smartwatches, tell you this stuff. So Friday, I found it very easy to, oh, you know what? I just want to watch this movie I've been trying to watch. So I watch it, and now it's midnight. I'm like, oh, okay, man. But I justified, oh, I'll still get my 8 hours of sleep, but it wasn't the same. Then,
and so there's nothing wrong with watching the movie. It's just recognizing the next day, okay, that didn't make me feel good. So next time, I'm going to do something different, because I want both to watch the movie and feel good. Yeah. So how do I reorder things so that I can have both of those things?
Yeah.
Again, the delay of gratification isn't a lack of hedonism in your life. It isn't a lack of pleasure. It's ordering them for maximal pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what's funny is that Saturday morning, I just felt kind of bad about myself because I didn't do what I knew I should do to get up, exercise, do all that. And then Saturday, I was like, okay, I reeled it in a little bit, but it's still the weekend in my mind. And I thought, okay, this has got to stop. Here's Sunday night. And then it's funny because I got my highest score ever, 99 sleep score, because I went to bed on time and I didn't eat. I did
Mhm.
all the things and I woke up and I was like, pow, there's my score. So I got that,
You
dopamine
got that
rush of,
dopamine hit of pleasure
yeah.
for
So,
achieving. Yeah. So, and
yeah,
I think one of the advantages of the smart technology that scores our sleep or scores our activity, that can help us feel good. The downside is we stop doing it for the activity and we start doing it for the score. And the
yeah,
score is just a way to keep track. It isn't the most important thing. It's really how you feel that's the most
yeah.
important thing.
But I do like your approach to, you manage what you monitor because there's things like I wouldn't have
Mhm.
known, right? If it didn't really matter had I not one been paying to how I felt about it, being aware of my thoughts, good or bad, and the impact that they have on me, right? Because I think a lot of people don't realize, hey, I feel bad about myself because I didn't do what I said I was going to do and be consistent about it. Now, how far does that drag you down, right? So
Yeah.
being aware of just even those simple things in your life and not letting it get to you. And then, the monitoring is just I've got something to look at to show that I'm getting better because otherwise I wouldn't know that I'm getting better.
Right. Right.
So, well, let's move on to kind of money life. What would be a good example, in your opinion, of good reason to delay gratification?
Um, Instead of buying $120,000 car, you buy a $50,000 car and invest the 70,000 in the market. You wait 7 years, and if the market doubles every 7 years, then you've got another $70,000, and you've turned because you've spent less on a car. You've essentially doubled your money, doubled $70,000. And what could you then do with that $70,000 that you can't do with a 7-year-old car?
Yeah. So you said $70,000, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I think today, if you're lucky, you could buy a Corvette, maybe new, but certainly a little bit used for $70,000.
Okay.
So you played out. I took that 70 grand, I put it in the right place
Well, I
versus
was going from a $120,000 car to a $50,000 car, so it's still not a sucky car. I mean, you're
right.
not driving a rattle trap. It's still a nice car,
Yeah.
but it's not as nice as a $120,000 car.
Yeah. So, but what I'm thinking is, so you've opted to put your money towards a depreciating asset, and you get some rush from racing down the road or up the canyon, or whatever
It, yeah,
pleasure
and
it is
it's a
that.
blast. It is fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
I'm pro fun.
Right. And you're not saying not have fun, but those are the trade-offs. And
Trade off. Yeah.
if you stop long enough to look at the trade-offs and then you make a decision, you've made a decision. But if you got some money to spend and you just were driving down the road and saw that beautiful red Corvette on the side of the road and you thought, "Oh, I'm just going to look at it." And then the sales rep, the next thing you know, he's got you signing contracts in the back. There's not much delayed gratification there.
No, there isn't, and so that goes back to the 24-hour rule. If it's really worth it, that beautiful red Corvette will be there tomorrow. Well, that 24 hours will give you time to think about what are the alternate uses of your money,
Yeah.
and that's what economics is, which is um, directing money toward alternate uses.
Yeah. Well, I love it. So there's little snippets that at least it works in my brain, and I'd like to think it works in a lot of people's brains, but little things that just kind of resonate all the time. And one of the things that you said a while back that just was one of those things whenever I'm thinking about delayed gratification, and just because it says something about cars, it applies to everything in my brain, and that is there's always more sheet metal.
Oh, yeah. There's yes. That was from my from my friend who sold me a car. He said it's all just steel. It's all just steel. There'll be more tomorrow.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I remember that a lot. I mean, he really gave me a gift by telling me that.
Well, I love it because again, whether you're buying a car, you're doing something. It's just there's sheet metal. That's a thing. That's
It's a
a
thing, and
yeah.
there'll be more tomorrow.
And by the way, it'll probably be cheaper tomorrow or
Who
better tomorrow.
knows? Who
You
knows?
know.
But
Yeah.
but there'll be more. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. Well, let's talk about
Can I say something as it relates to real estate?
absolutely. Yeah.
You know, you get a client. It's like, oh, what if we can't sell our house? What if we can't? Houses sell.
Hmm.
That's just how it works.
Yeah.
Houses sell. Property sells. That's just how it works. So be patient. It'll sell.
Yeah. There's not likely any property that never eventually got sold. Yeah, you didn't take care of it. Yeah, you overpriced it in the first place and it's got a stigma.
Yeah.
Or you did all kinds of things wrong, but everything sells at a
Right.
price. So
Everything
fig-
sells.
figure
Yeah.
out the
It may
price.
not be your ideal price. It may not be your ideal solution, but everything sells.
It'll sell. Yep.
Yeah.
Nutritional life, or I don't know if it's more a nutritional life or extra life, but what I think about is embrace the suck, right?
That would be exercise life. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Embrace the suck.
go work out, do some strength training, go get some cardio, go do something. And maybe it sucks, but I'll tell you what sucks more is you fast forward a couple of decades and now you can't really exercise like you once did, and now you've got these health issues or whatever. Now
Yep.
that really sucks.
That will really suck. Yeah. And so to me, the big lie about exercise is exercise hurts. Exercise is uncomfortable. No, the truth is the first 5 to 6 minutes of exercise sucks.
Yeah.
After that, it's like, oh, it's not so bad. Oh, okay, I can do this for longer. If you're doing the right kind of exercise
Right.
for you.
Right. Not burpees.
It's the getting started. If you, pardon me?
Not burpees. Anyway, I'm just kidding.
Oh, you don't like burpees. Okay. I mean, you got to pick one that you can, after 5 or 6 minutes, enjoy. And everybody can find some sort of exercise that they like after 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's a critical thing to point out here, and this kind of in the middle of all of this is, in my experience, if you don't like something, but you need to do it, just do it slightly different. Some people get on these diets and they're like, I can't stick to it. It's not a lifestyle thing, or I don't like these exercises. It's just not what I like to do. So go do something. Maybe that other diet isn't quite as good as the other diet, but you're going to do it. Or
Yes.
just do it.
Yes. What people very often do when they're trying to improve their lives is they try to find the optimal solution. No, just find one that's good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You'll do it.
So it's, oh yeah, but I should do burpees because I read that they're better than push-ups. Okay, but you don't like burpees, but you will do push-ups. Okay, I think we've come up with our solution. You don't like running, but you do like walking.
Then walk.
Gosh, I think we've come up with our solution.
Yeah. And by the way, some people argue that walking's even better because it's better on the joints and blah, blah, blah. And you don't get as hungry. And anyway, yeah, my point is figure out what you need to do to delay gratification, to move different aspects of your life in a positive direction. If the things you're trying don't fit into your lifestyle because you got kids or you don't have enough money to do it, right, that thing right now or whatever, there's always the cheap way to do it, kind of like your example of walking or running. Running, you might need some better shoes so you don't hurt your joints and might need to make a decent investment. But walking, just go walk.
Go walk. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we kind of cruised over those other than work life pretty quickly. But what's a good example? Just one, because we're talking about real estate here, maybe one slanted in that direction.
Well, I think should I spend 15 more minutes on this one thing, or should I just come back to it tomorrow? I think that's a legitimate question. If it's a cognitively complex task and you're distracted, you're probably not going to be able to be very effective in 15 minutes. But if it's an easy thing, close it up, get it done, and then move on to the next thing. You close that thing in your head, and then you're able to be more effective the next day. So it's can I do one little more thing?
Yeah.
And it's those one little more things that distinguish you, especially in a sales position, from the average. The pros do just a little bit more. They just do a little bit more,
Yeah.
and amateurs don't. They don't have a love for the activity, so they don't press themselves. And
Yeah.
pros do.
Which, by the way, for our audience, we coach to find the things you do love, right? We're not a coaching in a box where you here, buy this box and go do these things, and you might
Yeah,
hate it in 6 months and are miserable. We help you figure out how to grow a real estate business the way that you're passionate about, the way that you're designed and kind of wired to be. So hopefully, those things I was talking about, go find something you like to do and do it that way.
and do it that way. Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Real quick, what's your thoughts? And hopefully this isn't a derail too much, but what's your thoughts on kind of the eat that
like
frog?
like like
Like I
we've
never
never
do that.
derailed before.
Right, right. This is the first time, Roger, Dr. Hall.
Yeah. Okay. The eat the frog is it's a kind of a gross analogy if you think about it, but the principle is do the most difficult thing first. Um, the only caveat I would put on that is do the most difficult productive thing first.
Hmm.
So if you're doing something that is difficult but isn't really productive, it doesn't really move the ball forward, then I don't know why you're spending the time there. So
Yeah.
there's a balance between productive work and hard work. And it's important that with a limited amount of time, you're spending your best time doing the most productive work.
Yeah, I love that. And that'll go into a topic I think we've talked about briefly, but we could get into it in more detail later, is that we coach to is flow, right?
Mhm.
That we coach to the things that you can eventually delegate, have, pay somebody else to do it or whatever, that you aren't necessarily excited about or passionate about, or that our soul sucks or whatever. Um, get to a point in your business where you can outsource that so that
Yeah.
you're doing, what's your definition of flow? Solving problems in your area of expertise.
This is my definition. It's solving challenging problems in your domain of expertise. Yes.
Okay, that was somewhat close, but anyway, yeah,
You're very close. Yeah. But
I
it's my definition.
love it.
Chick Mihai's definition is a little bit different, and he invented the concept, so he's allowed to have any definition he wants.
That's right. That's right. Well, I love it. Well, we're kind of running a little bit behind. Surprise. Um,
Surprise.
but I think it's all good stuff. The one thing I wanted to add into this is, so people have put in all this work, right? They've gotten better at delaying gratification, monitoring how they think and tweaking it and getting better. And one of the last things,
Let me
yeah, go ahead.
stop you right there.
Yeah,
We've gone a long time on this. Let's do this one as its own episode.
I love it. Yeah, I
I
think
love it. Yeah.
that's a great idea. Yeah.
There's
So
so much here. Let's do master skill killers in its own episode because there are
yeah,
plenty.
I was just going to say I only put 3 on here because it was already, kind of lengthy, but for next episode we can add in a couple more, but that's the gist of what we don't want to do, is you do all these things because we've seen it, right? People make all this progress and then wham, you
Yeah,
know, they get hit by that bus you were talking about, the same
yeah,
bus.
right. And we all have vulnerabilities, and we all have weak spots. We all have chinks in our armor. So next time we're going to talk about how do you recognize those chinks in your armor and keep moving forward.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
All
All right.
right.
Well, real quick, Dr. Hall, how do folks get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can reach me. Probably the easiest way is to go to my website, drrogerhall.com, drrogerhall.com. You can go to my YouTube site, which is the Dr. Roger Hall channel. On my website, you can find out about my books. You can also find about my online courses, Freak Out and Expedition. And if you're of the mind, I do high performance mindset coaching and consultation for business leaders and their teams.
Awesome. All right. Well, I know this one went a little long, and we usually get pretty good at reeling them back in, but I think there's a reason
But
why
not
this,
today.
yeah, this one needed to happen on its own episode. So thanks again for joining us. Thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll wish everybody a blessed one. Take care.
Thank you.